Okay, my name is Alex Petrov. I'm Chief Information Officer of Bitfree Group, and I would like to present my view how the Bitcoin can change all the financial system and all the economy what they have right now. The Makoto was mentioned also the real economy, and the term real economy is describing all the deals for selling and buying all the services and all the goods without any additional delays and without any speculation, loans, and like financial deals outside the dealing. So if you doesn't have the enough speed for performing the real deals, then you need the loan economy, then you need the credits. And if you get the financial system what can provide you speed, then in most of the cases you doesn't need any additional credits or you doesn't need the loan economy. So the Samson Moore was joking quite nicely. So if you repeat the blockchain 3 times quite loud, so your database became immutable and your company will become vintage leader. Sure, it's a joke. So sure, right now we are in the hype of the blockchain or time chain, like the Zucker call it. So all the tools, they can solve and deliver results only if they use it properly. So the blockchain is not a silver bullet. It doesn't solve all the cases. It can deliver results and it can solve the case only if it uses it properly and only if in result you're getting some additional benefits and some features what solving the current problems. Otherwise, just adding the blockchain for your business doesn't solve the case and doesn't make your company profitable. If you're running all the paper, all the documents on the paper, the blockchain doesn't help you absolutely. First of all, you should perform migration and should perform the conversion from the paper form to electronic form. Then you can use the additional features of blockchain only if you need it. So a lot of people, without understanding how Bitcoin is working, calling the Bitcoin like fraudulent money. There is no fraudulent tools. There is no fraudulent money existing. The good or a bad, any tool became only because of how human are using them. There is no bad knife. There is no good knife. So this is a social aspect. The criminality is the only social aspect. If you have bad laws, if you have not the equal social system, then the criminal activity will be higher. And the criminality is exactly the social aspect. The money also not a fraudulent tool. And if you're checking on the UK Treasury report, so you can see the highest SOAR, highest risk, it still belongs for banks. It's still belonging for old financial system. It's still belonging for like money services and money companies. And if you're looking for cryptocurrencies, they are right here. And the risk is quite low. The money by themselves, US dollar by itself, fiat currency by itself, it's not fraudulent. They became fraudulent if they're using them for fraudulent purposes. So people are just talking about the Bitcoin, then they doesn't understand how the blockchain is working. So they became scared. So if you're meeting something new, something what you never met before, in most of the cases you became afraid. You doesn't understand how it's working properly. And this creating the fear because he doesn't understand how it's working. And I really like this picture. So this picture has a name, the fear of electricity. Then the electricity was just invented. A lot of people was using just the gas, even for lighting, even for cooking. And the electricity was a very scary thing for them. Right now, we're using electricity each day, so it's staying in our pockets. We're using the smartphones. They better understand how it's functioning, and they're less scared about it. So they're getting the positive things. So if you're talking about the physical assets, and if they're trying to convert the physical assets for electronic form, the physical assets absolutely changes their nature. There is absolutely no conversion one-to-one. There is no analogies. If you have the paper document and you have stamping, if you have like shares of a company, so then you can easily realize there is original copy and there is a copy of a document. But if you're converting the same document for electronic form, so there is no difference between copies. How you can realize right now who owning the shares of a company if it's electronic form. And Bitcoin and blockchain is working mostly like the infrastructure in like a messaging system. It doesn't really own any coins. It doesn't have really coins in your wallet. You're just publishing the message. And message is digitally signed. Right now you're publishing message. Right now I'm transferring the rights of ownership for 10 coins for some person. And this message is digitally signed, or the network realizing that right now the ownership of the asset belonging to another one person. So then in converting the physical assets for electronic form, it's decreasing the cost of storage. You have higher capacity, so you can store all the library on very small device, and you're also able to search, and you're able also to transfer the asset much faster. How fast you can send the paper at the speed of a courier. So how fast you can send the brick of a gold or the paper money, fiat money, mostly at the speed of courier. If you're converting them for electronic form, then you can speed it almost at the speed of light. And there is additional features, it's a positive features, and they're creating new value. And mostly, then you're converting them, so these improvements and these positive features create them more valuable for us. So a lot of people are saying the paper doesn't cost nothing, so it doesn't waste electricity. So no, the old financial system, what we are using right now, it's taking approximately 70% of all electricity generated by human race. So it's meaning just to run our banking system, just to support our financial system. They have offices, they need light, they need heat, we have CCTV cameras, we have ATM machines. There is 3.5 million ATM machines right now in the world. So normally, all the time, they are staying and consuming the electricity. They are part of our financial system. They doesn't provide any functionality, just providing the same paper. Just to print the paper money, they're wasting a lot of electricity. And this is also part of the support for infrastructure. And the Bitcoin, from that point of view, it's using the same electricity just to support the system running. But this amount of electricity is in times more lower. It doesn't need to print the paper. It doesn't need to recycle paper. Even the gold, they're recycling approximately 30% of the gold each year from jewelry. And it's requiring a lot of additional energy. Not just mining the gold, but also recycling the gold. So here is a small table about how much energy they are using just for manufacturing different wood, steel, glass in the paper. So even just the paper is requiring approximately from 7,000 till 14,000 watts per 1 kilo. So all the products, what they're creating, they require some resources. They require some energy. So then the people trying to evaluate the Bitcoin, they are trying to evaluate absolutely new object, and they're trying to use the same approach what they used before. So how we are trying to evaluate the fiat currency. So it's amount of printed money multiplied by the value. That's easy. But if you're talking about the electronic system, so they have infrastructure. It's also messaging infrastructure, so we have additional features. We can use it also for sending the messages. Even in Bitcoin, they get the occasionally timestamping. It's also creating the additional value. So you can use the system and it have the additional features, and it's became from two-dimensional world, three-dimensional world. So then the people are talking about the transactions per second. They are always trying to compare like old things and new things, but they're making typical mistakes. In the old system, if you're talking about the SEPA payment, about banking payment, about the Master and Visa payment, so they have one source, one destination. If it's one transaction per second, so it's one TPS, one transaction per second. But the Bitcoin is absolutely different. It has multi-dimensional size. You can take 5,000 sources and pay 2,000 destination. You already paid for your 1,000 employees and you already paid 1,000 invoices just by one single transaction. There is no need to send 2,000. You can just perform one and do everything together. The nature of the payment is changes. And if you would like also to compare the Master and Visa, so the Master and Visa is just a transfer. They doesn't represent the money by themselves. They doesn't represent the financial system by themselves. The SWIFT is just messaging system. There is no money transferred. The SWIFT is just transferring messages just to close clearing between the banks. It's just trusted network. There are banks sending the messages one to another one, signing them digitally. There is no money traveling. So, and if you would like to compare the MasterCard, Visa, and something more like affordable from the cryptocurrency world, then we shall talk about Lightning. And if the Master and Visa are performing transactions and they are trying to like perform the transactions spending seconds, Lightning performing the same transactions spending milliseconds. And the difference is almost 10,000 times. So it's 10,000 times faster. And if you're switching for faster speed, they can perform the same transaction, not just the faster. It's breaking and changes everything what the like thinking before. It changes the nature of the invoices, because right now they can invoice and collect the money not just once per month. They can just invoice once per second, once per minute. This is a change, absolutely the nature of the payments. The efficiency is a key point then the talking about the like different technologies. There is one gentleman, it's Russian scientist, his name is Kondratiev. He described what all economy is developing by waves. So they have like 50, 70 years cycles, and all the economy grow up is motivated by some innovations. Why it's different? So on the left side, you can see that the China factory, what is manufacturing the jeans. It's scratched jeans. There is 6 persons who are staying and constantly scratching all the jeans. They're spending approximately 5-7 minutes per one pair just to create them. On the right side, you have absolutely the same. So it's 6 pairs of jeans, but it's laser marking. And it's spending only 1 minute just to create these 6 pairs. What they have in result? They have higher efficiency, they has higher speed, they has higher accuracy, and you have additional benefits. You doesn't damage the material. You get better quality, and right now you can also print the pictures, what was not possible before. If we're talking about the like evolution and efficiency, so all the ways they are motivated by some innovations. So all the economy grow up was motivated by steam machines, by railway, by electricity invention. So even the assembly line, what was Ford invented at the beginning of a century, so it's a law to increase the speed of manufacturing. It's also a law to increase the quality of manufacturing. And at the same time, it's decreased the cost of manufacturing one single car. On the right side, you can see the same assembly line, but right now they are using the robots. The amount of cars was produced by the first line invented by Henry Ford was 1,000 cars per day. What was almost impossible before. Then the people performing different operations, they assembling the approximately like 100, 200 cars per day. But it was not like manufacturing really 100 cars per day. They just starting the assembling, and then at the end of each week, they releasing like 400 cars simultaneously. At the average, yes, that's 100. But Ford's innovation make it 1,000 per day. And the difference was huge. It's almost 10 times. Right now, the average line using the robots manufacturing daily from 2,000 till 3,000 cars approximately per day. The speed is much faster, the accuracy is much faster, quality is much better, and the price is much lower. They're getting absolutely different product and absolutely different cost. What happens right now in the Bitcoin is approximately the same. So the new system providing the better speed, it's providing lower cost, and it's providing absolutely different features and different quality what was not available for us before. So the evolution in mining, so because the mining is also part of the infrastructure, the miners, they are not just performing the emission of the Bitcoins. The first work of the miners, they are securing the network, they are processing transactions. They're making the blockchain what blockchain is, it is by itself. They're making all the blocks irreversible, taking non-conforming transactions and putting them in the blocks. You can perform the same block locking using the proof of stake or different methods. They can discuss about their efficiency, but the whole idea is about the time locking. The locking the blocks, the locking the transactions, making them immutable forever. And mining, like a part of the infrastructure, is defining the cost. They have CapEx, cost of infrastructure, and they have operational cost of infrastructure. And because the mining is quite competitive field, because the concurrency between the miner was quite high, the miners was forced to optimize all the operational expenses. In result, they start to use all available technology. And coming from the CPU, what is multi-purpose devices, but they are not energy efficient. They're consuming a lot higher amount of electricity performing one single transaction. They start using GPU, FPGA, and right now they came for ASIC. ASIC was not created just for a Bitcoin. They was using ASIC since 70s. The first satellite what they sent into the space was using the ASIC, because the ASIC requiring like engineering initially just to create the chip, but you're creating the chip what is consuming in 1,000 times less electrical energy. It's more dense, more smaller, and it's more efficient in times. But it's designed just for a single purpose operation. They're using a lot of ASICs in our each day life, or our Wi-Fi models, or our phones is based on the ASIC.
Apple before switching to Intel using ASIC.
Sorry?
Apple was using ASIC before switching to Intel.
Even before the Apple became mass production, so if you remember the Sinclair and the Spectrum, so why the personal computer was became available for personal use only because they optimized before the PCB boards was using a lot of different IC chips. And the Sinclair was first computer who was just ordered the ASIC, and in result they are able to decrease the price from 500 till 150 for a mass market. And this is what happens. They just pack a lot of IC chips in one single case, in one single small IC, and these decrease the price for mass market and make the personal computer like we use them right now. It's normal optimization, just about the efficiency. So just to better understand the numbers, so I doesn't know what the different manufacturing are manufacturing, so I have the numbers about Bitfury. So the first chips was like 1x. The next evolution using the smaller technology, the power consumption was decreased and decreased seriously, like almost 8 times. Then the next step was decreased it almost 25 times, then almost 45 times. But you can better understand what happens, because right now the mining break all possible limits what the normal technology using in real industry. For example, Intel has almost 15,000 million transistors per square millimeters. So Apple has 23. So NVIDIA have 25. And the chips, what they're using for mining is over 30. It's higher and it's more progressive comparing to all the chips what they are using like in each day use. Even our CPUs, they are not so competitive still. They have very big profit, and this is why they are not so forcing the technology forward. So just to better understand the numbers, the difference between CPU and between the ASIC is almost 200,000 times faster, and it's consuming almost 205,000 times less energy per one single operation. And if you're talking about the infrastructure, just imagine it, all your full nodes, all your infrastructure, what you're using for Bitcoin, if you can optimize the power consumption, it's meaning lower price, lower fee per one single transaction for all of us. And this meaning with mining, like it felt, where competition was really high, was just forced the industry, and these allow us to perform paying the smaller fee. But
let's go over because it's really interesting. 1 minute? 2 minutes?
If you give me like 3 minutes, I will try to complete the slides. I'm really sorry. This presentation was designed for 1 hour, 1.5 hours, but I'm trying to fit it like squeeze in 20 minutes. Yeah, I will try to go faster. So the data centers, what they are using right now, so they have the efficiency, power usage efficiency coefficient. So the power efficiency coefficient is how much energy you're spending per server, plus all the cooling, all the lighting, all the additional electricity what you're consuming. If you're using the servers in Asia, this coefficient will be very high, because like 2.33, because you're consuming more energy, not for a server, but for a cooling. And what was happened normally in data center scenario during last years, so they're trying to optimize the data centers and make them more power efficient. So the current trend is approximately 1.9. So it's meaning 90% of electricity is spent for cooling and for light and all the like side things. The best practice is 1.3. The state of art is 1.2. But in mining, right now, the state of art is even less than 1%, because they can also provide the heat for growing the tomatoes. And it's meaning the consuming some electricity, but they getting the additional side effects. And most of the data centers, they are very efficient. They're almost twice more efficient comparing to all data centers what they have. And it's meaning if they're talking about the banking, if you're talking about the Visa, they're using the old infrastructure, they have still very high profit, and they are not forced to optimize data centers. Comparing to Bitcoin, the difference is quite huge.
Everyone, hold on, we gotta go like this. 5 minutes over. You know what? You're like me. You just, yeah. Keep going. Pavel knows. It's like, at this point, I'm just getting done with the introduction. So, anyways, okay. Because it was awesome, we're gonna do, even though you're over, a question. Make it a good one.
Is that slide deck available anywhere?
Sorry?
That slide deck available anywhere?
I will upload them. I'm changing and improving all the presentation constantly. So I have the same presentation containing like the economical formulas and technical beside even describing how some parts of the Bitcoin code is functioning, why the quantum computer is not like representing any risk for Bitcoin and so on.
Where can you get this slide?
Yeah, but this is like more simplified. Yeah, I'm not able to squeeze it like in 20 minutes. Yeah, I will upload it.
You're like me. Where can you get the slide? Where can you get the slide deck? Is it online?
So
Does he email you?
Yeah, I will publish it, and I can perform like tweet, and you can just download it somewhere. Yeah.
I'm gonna allow one more question. Anything technical? Folks? All right, big round of applause. That was very good. Thank you. Good job.